How to read books. There is a video on the channel where I explain the principles of professional and other different modes of reading. There is also a video with guides for making a summary. Making a summary is the best way to read challenging and profound books, and in that video I gave you 8 steps to writing a summary, from starting with choosing a book to finishing with designing your summary and further studies. But today I'm going to tell you how to analyze challenging books. When you analyze any object, the main difficulty is finding the right factors to consider. For example, if you analyze the business processes of your assistant, you need to take a look at his or her actions in detail. Actions are the right thing to consider, not words nor motivation. But first, let's see what it is a challenging and profound book. Some examples are Psychological Types by Carl Jung, Psychology of Art by Lev Vygotsky, The Crowd, A Study of the Popular Mind by Gustave Le Bon. All these books are research monographs. The authors try to solve scientific problems like describing mechanisms of psychological reactions, revealing mechanisms of aesthetical effects, and describing laws of crowd behavior. It goes without saying that these books are worth writing a summary of. Reading them is really profound. So the peculiarity of these challenging books is that they are based on research. And we will get maximum gain from reading if we understand how the author managed to achieve the results, how the author conducted the research. The ideal result is when you can apply the author's method to solve similar but new problems. To get closer to this result, you have to consider 7 key characteristics in your analysis. The first one is source material. First of all, you should figure out what the author uses as the source material, primary facts and instances. What phenomena does the author consider? For example, Aristotle investigated the nature of knowledge, and to do this, he analyzed the language as a means of expressing any knowledge. That is why Aristotle's categories look like parts of speech. Or another obvious example, Gustave Le Bon, for his work The Crowd, studied examples of behavior in a crowd described in the press. The second factor is an indeterminate situation. This is the point where research starts. The author faces something strange or inappropriate in the real world. It could be an inexplicable phenomenon like the crowd behavior, a contradiction in existing theories like in theories of aesthetical effects of art, or a social problem like a crisis in the old family model as in Marriage and Morals by Bertrand Russell. And here you need to assess the indeterminate situation. Is it beneficial to solve it? Is it a real problem or just a speculative question? Who will benefit? The third point is the author's terms or definitions. Every researcher has their own conceptual framework, and even similar words can have different meanings for different researchers. A vivid example is the term induction. For some authors, it is a way to go from particulars to universals. For others, it's a kind of analogy. The third definition is that it is just a statistical justification. So to understand the author correctly, you need to decode his language. This is especially important to the next point of analysis. The state of the problem, or the goal in new terms, is the fourth point. You see, in the second point, the indeterminate situation is presented in simple words and illustrated by vivid examples. Here you need to formulate the problem within the author's conceptual framework. For example, your goal could be to convince the audience. If you refer to the book Public Opinion by Walter Lippmann, you will find the concept of stereotype. A stereotype is some kind of instinctive response or filter for ideas. It appears as a strong emotional reaction, approval or conviction to some idea, say democracy. So your initial problem to convince the audience can be transformed into something like to find positive stereotypes of the audience and come up with the appropriate ideas. The next point is the method. So the problem is found, and the author starts to solve it. The author offers new conceptions, develops new solutions. The sum of all invented concepts and solutions makes up the method of solving the problem or reaching the goal. For example, Aristotle, to solve the problem of fallacious reasoning, introduced the notion of topic. The topic is a strategy for checking arguments, and in his prominent work Topics, Aristotle proposed several hundred topics for checking arguments. Topic is an invented concept. A list of topics is an instrument to solve the problem. Together they make up Aristotle's method. The next point is results and applications. Here you need to assess the results and whether the method solves the problem or not. There are 2 main criteria for assessing solutions: impact and novelty. Impact means that you are capable to repeat offered actions and obtain better results compared to the usual ways. Novelty means that the author offered a new approach, a new idea, a new concept. Method without better impact and novelty can hardly be considered an achievement. That's why compilation works or popular retellings usually aren't worth reading. The final point is open problems. Here you need to identify what aspects of the problem remain unsolved and what new problems and goals arise. A common mistake is to think that classical books present the ultimate truth. The work is completed, final results are obtained, and there is nothing to do. But this is not the case. As a matter of fact, research books are only the first step of a really large research program. There are more questions than answers. However, some valuable guidance is given. For example, let's have a look at the Principia by Isaac Newton. This book forms the foundation of classical mechanics with Newton's laws of motion and his law of universal gravitation. But then, for 3 centuries, many scientists developed Newton's ideas to build the edifice of modern mechanics. To sum up, you get the biggest gain from reading classic, challenging books. If you analyze such books and formulate that 7 points we've been talking about, you will build a solid foundation for your professionalism. Because if you know how the prominent people contributed to the profession, you increase your chances to do the same. That's all for today. Check additional information in the description below, watch other concentrated videos on the channel, and see you in the next video. Thanks!